Welcome, beautiful souls. I'm so grateful you're here today to enjoy this journey of life with us. In our last video, we explored the science of habit formation, diving deep into how our brains are wired to form habits and how we can leverage this knowledge to create positive change in our lives. If you haven't watched that video yet, I highly recommend going back and checking it out because today we're going to take it a step further and talk about breaking bad habits. Breaking bad habits can feel like a monumental task, but understanding the science behind the habit formation can make this process easier and more achievable. After all, a habit is simply a behavior that's been reinforced through repetition, right? So if you want to break a bad habit, we need to retrain our brain by disrupting the old patterns and replacing them with healthier alternatives. Let's start by looking at what a habit actually is. Habits are formed through a process called the habit loop, which includes a cue, a routine, and a reward. This loop is how our brains make actions automatic and effortless over time. For example, let's say you have a habit of reaching for your phone every time you feel stressed. The cue is the stress. The routine is picking up the phone, and the reward is a sense of distraction or temporary relief. Over time, this habit becomes automatic because our brains associate the routine and the reward, reinforcing the loop. Some people become so caught up in this negative loop pattern that their whole life is wasted by being distracted. In a day and age where distraction is everywhere, it takes much more intentionality to build a life you love living. Good news, our minds are powerful machines and can overcome just about everything. But what happens when you want to break that loop? The first thing you need to understand is that it's not about willpower alone. Willpower can be a limited resource, and relying solely on it to break a habit can lead to frustration and failure. Instead, the key is to disrupt the habit loop. You need to change the routine and sometimes even the cue in order to rewire your brain. Now, I know it sounds easier said than done, but let's break this down. The first step in breaking any bad habit is awareness. You need to become aware of the habit you want to change and the triggers that lead to it. Keep a journal for a week or a month. This helps recognize patterns you might not otherwise see. If you have to do it a second or a third month, keep tracking. Especially for women with menstrual cycles, our hormones are constantly changing, which also affects the way we show up. Ladies, this isn't an excuse for not living your best life. It's just something to be aware of so you can respond versus react. Tracking when and why you engage in a habit will help you pinpoint the cues and prompt the behavior. Once you identify the cues, you can begin to reframe them. For example, if stress is your cue, you can replace the habit by picking up your phone with a healthier habit like practicing deep breathing, journaling, or taking a quick walk outside. The next step is to replace the bad habit with a new positive one. This is where the science of habit formation comes in. Your brain is still looking for the reward, so you need to offer it something that satisfies the same craving, but in a healthier way. The reward doesn't have to be exactly the same. It just needs to provide the same sense of relief, comfort, or pleasure. If your bad habit involves eating junk food when you're stressed, try replacing it with something healthier like eating a piece of fruit or a handful of nuts. Over time, your brain will start associating this new routine with the same reward, and the old habit will lose its grip. It's also important to be patient with yourself. Breaking a bad habit takes time, and there may be setbacks along the way. If you slip up and fall back into your old habit, don't be too hard on yourself. Remember that change is a process, and every small step you take in the right direction is progress. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small they may seem. Another key element in breaking bad habits is the power of accountability. Share your goals with a trusted friend or family member, or consider working with a coach or a therapist who can help you keep track. Accountability can provide the motivation and encouragement you need to stay committed to breaking your old habits and forming new, healthier ones. In my life, I have found that I'm unable to do this. Often I allow other people to get in my head with their probably well-intentioned comments, but I end up derailed. I have found for me, anytime I have wanted to change something, I have to make a serious commitment to myself and quietly go about what I desire to change. Others cannot be involved in my process of change. This could still be a trauma rearing its ugly head, but I found what works for me. So don't be discouraged if the standard way of doing something doesn't work for you. Just find what does and make it work. Doing it differently is okay. Different can actually be really good thing to embrace. And don't forget the importance of self-compassion during this process. Change can be challenging, and it's easy to become frustrated when things aren't going as planned. But remember that you're not alone, and every effort you make towards breaking a bad habit is a step in the right direction. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend or a loved one. As we continue on this journey of living our best life in this 90-day series, I want to remind you that breaking bad habits is just one part of the process. It's about creating a space for positive change to take root and giving yourself permission to evolve. Building new, healthier habits is just as important as breaking the old ones. When we focus on forming healthier habits, it's essential to approach it with intention. A key step in building new habits is to make them as easy and enjoyable as possible. The easier a habit is to integrate into your life, the more likely you are to stick with it. For example, if you want to start exercising, don't commit to an hour-long workout every day right away. You're setting yourself up for failure. Start with 15 minutes a day and gradually build up to it. Make the experience enjoyable so that it becomes something you look forward to. Another great strategy for forming healthier habits is to use habit stacking. This is where you take the current habit you already do consistently and add a new positive behavior to it. For example, if you already brush your teeth every morning, you can stack a short meditation session right after. This way, your new habit is tied to something familiar, and it becomes easier to remember and follow through on it. It's also important to remember that healthier habits are not just about physical actions, but mental ones as well. A healthy mindset, crucial for long-term success. Practice gratitude, self-reflection, and positive self-talk daily. These small shifts in how you think about yourself and your life will strengthen your ability to build and maintain healthy habits. Lastly, one of the best ways to sustain new habits is through celebration. Recognizing and celebrating your progress, no matter how small, helps keep you motivated. This positive reinforcement will encourage you to continue building your new habits and keep moving towards your best life. Now let's take a moment to reflect on today's topic with these 3 deep questions. Question 1. What is one bad habit you've been struggling to break, and what might be the cue that triggers it? Question 2, can you replace that habit with a positive routine that provides a similar reward? Question 3, what small step can you take today to begin breaking the habit and rewire your brain for healthier patterns? Tell me in the comments below, what habit do you need to break to live a better life? Until next time, choose to make today the best day yet and love the life you're living.